Thank you very much for this demo session. We continue with more interesting presentation at GSMA Open Gateway DevCon, now with the GSMA Intelligence Network API Developer Service Summary Market Research. It will be a pleasure to have Team Hatt. But before this, we start this session, let's do another quick quiz, okay? So please get out your mobile phones again, please. And scan the QR, enter only a few details, log in for a quick quiz. Take your time. Okay, are you ready? Yes? Okay, here we go with the question. What, according to developers, is the first network API value proposition? Improve security, increase revenues, improve customer experience, reduce cost, improve employee experience, or regulatory compliance? What do you think? Oh, it's improve security, improve customer experience. The correct answer is improve security, so well done. Let's go with another question. What is the approximate global 5G adoption figure? 1, 5, 25, 50, or 98.25%? What do you think is the correct answer? So the correct answer is well done, 25%. So let's find out more about this with our next speaker. Let's welcome to Tim Hatt, Head of Research and Consulting at GSMA Intelligence. Thank you, and welcome.
Well, thank you very much, and it's great to be here. That question actually saved me a bit of time, so I can skip through some of the opening slides I've got. But yeah, I work with the GSMA Intelligence Group. We are an analyst arm of the GSMA. Super happy to be over here, and what I wanted to do is really talk about some survey data we've got on the developer group and play a little game of kind of do you know, did you know, around what developers want. We're all talking about monetization, how to monetize the Open Gateway APIs. Let's test if we know the developers and how we can engage with them better. So going through this, that was essentially the poll question, and I guess they asked me to put that there because it's our job to cover this stuff. But right now, 5G is actually growing at quite a high rate. It's 25% worldwide, much faster or much higher in other countries, but it's growing faster than anything before. All fine and good, but, and this is just a bit of preamble, there's still, at least for the telco sectors and the mobile operators who are the ones trying to drive the open APIs, you know, a growth challenge. We've got to make money somehow. We've got to find a new way to do that, and this is really a great idea about how to monetize the platform at scale. I know a lot of you are taking pictures. This is in some published research. I've got a QR code at the end, so don't worry if you don't get it all snapped up here. So why, you know, APIs are part of the solution. They're a big part, but why we're here? Why do the developers matter? You could kind of boil this chart down into sort of one virtuous cycle of they are the way to reach scale. They are the way to reach the end customer. They drive the innovation, and so operators need to work with them more, and you get this virtuous circle. More supply drives the demand, and vice versa. So in the survey we ran last year, and which we're planning to run again, we talked to 1,000 developers, and we basically asked them a whole bunch of questions around their awareness and their usage of the network APIs, and what they actually want from partnerships. So what did we find? And I'll take a show of hands for some of these slides. So, and apologies if some of the text is a bit small, but first point is developers actually come from a huge range of backgrounds, and they service a huge range of industries. You don't actually need to see all the text here, but it goes from anything from healthcare to VR to automotive, desktop apps, mobile apps. It's all there. It's a wide community. What may have been a little bit less obvious is that while network APIs are generally understood, That's this black line up across the top. That's the share of developers that say they have a very good understanding of what network APIs are. It actually trails off in some regions, especially Asia. So actually there's an awareness gap where you got a huge amount of awareness in Europe, the US, other parts of the world, less in Asia. And actually, even if you do have a high awareness, that doesn't always mean people are using them. It's kind of the opposite effect. Here we are in the Middle East and North America over there on the left, great understanding, but the developers aren't necessarily using it. So you've got this kind of oxymoron. The question is why? When we go to the network API value prop, what we asked developers was, what to you is the #1 benefit? What do you really want out of all of this? And actually security comes top. I think we've heard a lot about that on stage today. It's about improving security. It's about improving customers' experience. Other aspects sort of come down, but first and foremost, it is fraud and security. We keep a database of where the APIs have been deployed and what their usage is, but it starts with security. Is anybody surprised by that? Not seeing a lot of hands, which is good. That's an expected finding. Right, this is actually data, and this is actually from November, so it's a bit of a mislabel there, but this is, I think a previous panelist had talked about where you can get information on the APIs that have been deployed. And this sort of chart, heat map, it's a bit complicated, but what it just shows you is the more red it is where the higher the incidence of that API being deployed. So when I talked about on the previous slide, developers really seeing security as a key asset, that's backed up here. SIM swap, device status, passwords. I think our previous speaker was speaking about a quick development of one of these APIs. That's where a lot of the actions is. But now it's actually branching out into other categories as well. Industries. Which industries do developers see as, and I'll take a poll question here as well. Which industries do they see? Well, everybody sees the software market. Well, that's not surprising. That's their job to work in the software market. But when you look around, there are actually some outliers. Developers in Europe see the manufacturing industry as high potential. Down in South America, financial services, banking, and gaming a little bit more. Retail in parts of the Middle East. So there is some variation here, and the takeaway for us is that actually there's got to be some collaboration about how to reach buyers in these industries. It's all well and good to code, but that's got to lead to a monetization effect where there's a clear selling proposition. A little bit more in terms of what the developers actually want. So the biggest thing, and again, apologies for the small text here, but when we talk about their partnerships, who are they actually working with right now? You have quite a high incidence for the public cloud, AWS, Microsoft, Google Cloud, Alibaba, etc. Then you have this sort of enterprise IT groups through to the main vendors, the operators, the telco operators are here, and then it kind of moves on down. It tells us that actually there's quite a lot of partnerships being formed rather than just one group. This is really a kind of ecosystem. It takes takes a village, as the saying goes. That is definitely true for developers. With the mobile operators, who are the foundation of MWC, you actually look and there's still a little ways to go. It's growing. There's a lot of use, there's a lot of partnership, and I think these types of events are really super important to drive interest there, but still has got a way to go. And so that's why we come to the point about what do you need to do? So what do devs want? They want the basics. You ask about the most important, if I'm a developer, what are the most important things you want? When we ask them that, as much as new technology is great, actually it's sort of quality of service, it's good security, it's the ease of use. It's all of that, and that is sort of just what we would call the basics, the priority zone. Get that right, and the rest follows. Is that surprising to anybody? Do the basics right? No. That's what you got to do. key topic of conversation this week, we've heard it over at the main FIRA, a lot of conversations around how to monetize APIs, how to monetize Open Gateway. And again, I know a lot of people are taking pictures, but these will be available. What kind of pricing models work? You know, when we look at this, a lot of the historical API pricing has been on a call basis, you know, for volume. That doesn't necessarily work in all the models we're looking at now. We're seeing more subscription models. We're seeing more hybrid. We're seeing more variation in the pricing. And actually, I think what it means is for groups that are working with developers, they've got to be flexible. Don't be dogmatic about it. Be flexible about it. And the good news is we're starting to see a lot of activity to get that flexibility there. So simplicity, ease of use, quality of service, security, flexible pricing. Right. When you wrap it all up, how do we think about the outlook? Well, it kind of depends who you are. If you're a telco operator, if you're a developer, if you're a vendor, or anybody in between, I don't really care who you are. A lot of the things we talk about is make it easy. Keep it simple, stupid. You know, know their requirements, know your audience, know the USP, know the selling proposition, and really be able to bundle this into the customer outlook so that you have a clear drive-through of the API. We're seeing so many good demonstrations of how to build the API. I have no doubt about the tech side. That's going to happen. What really is key now is the monetization and the business side. You get that right, good things will happen. This is a little bit about us, GSMA Intelligence. We go to our website. We've got lots of stuff on the industry, but what I'd really encourage you to do is take a look at and again, one of the panelists cited it before, we publish a tracker report on all these APIs. Where are they being used? What regions? What industries? Is there commercial success? What are the changing models of deployment? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Check that out. We update it every 6 months. It'll have the latest and greatest for what we're talking about, and we'll take a lot of inspiration, I think, from the conference this week, because I know there's a lot of good stuff happening. So it's been great to be here, guys. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you very much.